This is the willow dome that I made for Elfie in springtime. It's living willow, and so I thought I'd do a video about it before all the leaves fall off, because they're starting to. Yeah, about how I built it, because I know a few people really liked it when I posted it in spring. So we've got a lot of living willow fences here, and basically they'd grown so much over the winter that I weave the rods back in the springtime, but there was too many, so I had a lot that I'd cut off, and I wanted to use them for something. So I thought I'd build Elfie a playhouse in this corner. So I put it in a bit late than you're supposed to, just because I thought I'd take the chance, because I've got the rods anyway and they needed a use, so I thought I'd take the chance, and most of it is absolutely fine. I've just got a couple of rods that I'll probably replace or add to, but anyway, I cut the willow, and you can get, if you haven't already got living willow fences, you can get living willow kits and things from various online websites, if you Google it, and you have to put them in between after November and before March time, and it's like gauging the weather is a good idea, because like summer, if it's really frozen ground, that's just you've got to get the willow rods in a foot. So you've got the willow rod, and you've got to get a foot of the bottom part of it into the ground for it to survive and make roots. If the ground's too hard, it's going to be really tough on the willow, and you've got to really push it in. So gauging the weather right is a good idea if you're going to put any in. Now you can get, I've seen online, I can't remember where, but if you googled it, you can get kits for domes and things, but this one I just wove it freeform. I just made it up. So what I did is I put the willow rods in about a foot space. I put about 10 rods in. Some of these rods are definitely at least 12 foot, some of them were even about 15 foot, because they got really big. And then I had some smaller rods as well, so I made sure that every couple of rods there's a nice long one, and that at least every foot there's a really long, like 12-foot rod, because it's got to reach all the way up to the top. So I put all the rods in first, and I left 2 openings as a doorway at the back. This dome isn't finished, it's got more that's going to be added to it, and I didn't finish weaving in all the rods. So I first of all I started off with the doorway, so I wove 3 rods together on one side and on the other side, and just crossed them over, so I made a nice strong doorway. And this willow, if you haven't already planted living willow, and you want to, just so that you know, it will get wider and wider, that these tree trunks, it is a tree, so they will grow and they'll get stronger, and the holes will start to close up as they get older. So I start off, I'll put the doorways in, and then every, I don't know, maybe 75 centimetres or something like that, I would put 2 rods together and twine them together, so it's like kind of making a knot, bringing the 2 together and wrapping them over, and then in between I bring rods right up to the top to meet the top part. But for these walls, you can see where these rods are bent over to join, so this is the main framework of the wall. So say if there's 2 join in there, and then there would be another one in the centre of that, and over here, and then so that the arches kind of cross over. I hope that comes across right. So there's an arch there, and then there would be another arch crossing over from halfway, so that those archways cross over all the way around, and I found that builds a really nice strong framework for the walls. And then all the other rods in between are just intertwined. I've just done it freeform to build, see where there's gaps and where I would want to, there's an area where I left a window, and then the rest of it I want to close in as a wall, bearing in mind that these are going to fill out and fill space. So for the top, usually the domes are a bit smaller than this, but I wanted to make a nice big one, so I use my longest rods. I'll show you a close-up in a bit. I use my longest rods, and I tied them in the centre up here, just with string for this year, just to hold it together, because this dome will have more work done on it this winter. So those rods that are held together at the top, my plan is the willow starts to sprout all the way up the rods. So when these sprouted rods that are coming off it get long enough, because they get longer and stronger, then those will get woven in, and that will build all the roof. So all the roof will be woven in, by the time, certainly next summertime, all that roof will be woven in properly. So well, maybe I can show you this rod, just weave some in. So I just, when you're bending it, you have to make sure you don't snap it over. So I just feed it through like that, and I'll bring it so it's pulling on this one. It's always constantly holding in place by other ones. So because I'm going to bring it through here, I'm going to bring the rod back so I don't have to bend it too much, and then I can bring it through here and then back through here again, and then I'll pull it in, and then that's going to join up with that. And I just intuitively see where it can join up to and what gaps and holes that I can close up. And then, because where I see any looser parts, then those rods that are weaving in with it, like this one, I will weave in a way that holds that one in place, like that. So that will bring that in nice and tight there, and so on. So then, as I'm weaving, I'm constantly looking for where needs more strength and where needs more holding in, what holes need closing up. And I just have fun, just intuitively weaving it until it's how I want it to be. So yeah, I'll show you how close it is. So the rods on the roof, they've just got strings on. They're a bit weathered now, but they've just got strings holding them together. So this is very, very flimsy for a roof. This is not going to be staying like this. But you can see these rods starting to sprout here. When these get nice and long, these will all weave together for the roof. So all of these rods, I won't be cutting any of those off. Those will all just start to build all the roof. So that was my plan. So I'll probably, I will this winter, I'll be adding a few extra rods, say here where there's a gap. I will weave some new rods in this year. So I just it's a work in progress. I'm always adding to them, and when I go around my fences every year, I just check where I need a bit of work or where I want to add something. So yeah, that's Elfie's dome. So yeah, that's all I've got to say about that.